Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to the stream. Of course, this is the Transatlantic Drone Alliance drone news stream. With me tonight is the co-host of the show. That is down that way. I'm trying to figure it out. That's my good friend Centroid, also known as Mark. So if you hear me refer to him as either of them, that's who I'm talking about. Would you like to say hello, mate?
Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. Yeah, fair enough. Well, you know how it goes. Saturday night we're a bit more chilled out, whatever. We just get through the drone news stories. We was going to stream Wednesday. Mark was unavailable. I was tired from work. I did put a notification on the community's page, and I just postponed it till tonight. There's always Saturday. That's sort of becoming the new motto.
The safety, it's the safety net. It's the safety net.
I do try and announce it as soon as possible. So tonight we've got some great drone news stories. I would like to just go through the chat real quick and say hello to people. You know how I do it. Everybody in here is welcome. Great community. I'm not going to touch water out like that because I'm not very superstitious, but we don't really get any trolls in here. Is that inviting them in? I don't care. Everybody in here, you know what I mean, who I trust, who's been in here many times, has a blue wrench. A few people recently I know of have been getting trolled pretty harsh. Fire at will. If anyone's misbehaving, you have my 100%, authorization to just get rid of them straight away. If they look like they're going to be misbehaving, show them the door. I don't care. I ain't got time for that. Don't bother me, but I don't want a toxic chat. Nobody does. So, yeah. Okay. Right, in the chat then we've got Lauren Amy, my lovely partner. She's sat just off camera. She don't want to appear on camera. She's in a gym jams reading a book.
Oh my God, you're making me sound like I'm 80 years old.
Saturday night, party night, Saturday night, big night.
I'm 28 and I'm sat in my job.
Rock and roll.
She's got her Afghan curled around her, and she's got a cup of tea, and she's settled in, and
cup of Horlicks, bed in an hour.
I've got rollers in my hair next.
I thought you did. I thought you did have rollers in your hair.
Yeah, that's why I just don't want to appear on camera. Also in the chat, obviously, the Centroid. Please, if you haven't subscribed to Centroid already, find him in the chat. Is also linked in the stream description. You know how it goes. It was just an easy one. I can't even remember what I put in the stream description. It was like Saturday Drone News Roundup, something like that. But he is linked down there. Subscribe to him because we do alternate the shows. I've lost track of whose show it is on Wednesday. Who knows? Do you want to do it on your channel?
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
Okay,
so it should be no problem. It is midterms, but I think I'm in the clear, and that's real life gets in the way with YouTube from time to time, and it's all good. So I appreciate your patience, Steve, and everybody else. I'm sorry we didn't stream this week. If you're looking forward to the show,
that's okay. So subscribe to Mark's channel, Centroid, in the chat or in the stream description, and the show once again will be on Mark's channel Wednesday night. 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. UK time. Same time as the stream started tonight. There we go. I've introduced you now, Mark, properly. Twice, actually. Mad Kiwi, I hope you're well, buddy. Always a pleasure to see you in the chat. Reynolds81, I've not seen you before. Welcome to the stream. Lit, hand waves, raised hands. Yeah, nice to meet you, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Crags is there. Hey, dudes. Angie says hello. We have been blessed. We've been graced with a hello from Kev and Angie there. Very good friends of mine. We go out on explores and adventures and all sorts of things. Hope you're doing well, Kev. And after the stream, if you're up for it, I'll invite you into the Skype chat and all that lot. All good. Ricky Dove, how's it going, buddy? Also, brilliant dude. Always in the chat, always friendly. Gary is in the chat. That is Brant Ariels. A pleasure, absolute pleasure. So, we've been rambling for like 5 minutes. 9 people watching. 10 people watching. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Like I say, we've got some great drone news stories.
Nice.
More than I thought we'd have, actually, because it's been fairly quiet for drone news. But, that's all good. We have good news today. Well, we have good news stories, not necessarily good news.
Yeah, this is true.
It's always peppered in with that negativity and, you know, that sort of negative spin the mainstream media tries to put on the drones and everything. So, Mark, would you like to start, first of all? We didn't discuss this pre-stream, so it's Saturday night. It's anything goes night.
Well, I fear that as with Steve, there's the G word that we try to keep him from mentioning. Well, I'm starting to get my own bane, my own enigma, and that is the FAA. And I do have a couple of articles that pertain to the latest regulations. So I'll try not to just do it all in one shot. We'll do it in dribs and drabs. But there's still this thing with the new drone regulations coming up. So let me start with that.
Okay, let me put your screen share on. There we go. No technical difficulties.
Okay, so let me copy this and put it into the paste. Hey, what's up, Ed? How you doing, man? Love my drones in the house.
Hello, welcome to the stream.
Okay, so again, this was inspired by watching a program by the UFDA crew a few weeks ago, and then I started finally, getting my butt in gear and reading up on it. And the FAA is coming down with some pretty heavy legislation here. And let me just kind of paraphrase what's going on here. The FAA's proposal for remote idea for drones appears problematic for recreational drone community. Tom Dobbs, the AMA's Director of Government Affairs, says the proposal leaves no viable options for hobby flyers. They are seriously strangulating the airways for hobbyists when it comes to drones, and that's a big problem. And I do have a link to CNY drones that I'll post if anybody wants to write to the FAA. And there are some things you need to know about that, and I can't forget to tell you. You can't just kind of go on a rant because they won't read it, and I'll explain that later. But let me get through this article a little bit more. Dobbs explained the AMA's interpretation of the rules simply. There are three options to comply with remote idea rules, Dobbs says. First is the standard option: connect with the internet and provide location and identification to one of the U.S. service providers, or if you lose internet connection, broadcast. We see this as really designed to support flight beyond visual line of sight. Retrofitting all recreational aircraft to the standard would be almost impossible, says Dobbs. Our members have aircrafts that are 50 years old. We just don't fit into the description of the aircraft that the FAA is working with. For those future engineers building their own aircraft, Dobbs says the requirement is even more difficult to comply with. It would be extremely difficult for home-built or amateur-built aircraft to meet the requirements, he says. And yes, FPVers, if you build drones to fly, freestyle, or racing, they're talking about us. So they're making it almost impossible to fly FPV legally. Second, it's a limited option that requires you to be connected to the internet, but you're limited to 400 feet away from the controller, says Dobbs. That's 400 feet is a deal killer for us. We have hobbyists flying soaring aircraft, large model aircraft, turbine jets. It just doesn't work. I mean, have you ever seen some of these literally jet powered model aircraft that mimic like the fighters? 400 feet. You're going to be there in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, you're going to have to do like fast loops around your head.
Oh my God. Yeah. Our flying sites around the country are deliberately chosen. And not only that, what they're talking about is they're only going to have regulated sites where you can go and fly these things. And they only have a year to register. And once that year is up, done. You can't register another site anywhere. So it's locked. I mean, this is worse than I thought it was. At first, I thought it was just a bit panicky. But I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, do you have anything like this going on in the UK other than your test and registration?
No, like I said, that was it, mate. Just the online registration, the idiot test, 20 questions, get 16 right, £9 registration, and that's where it rests at the minute. There's no new news about extra legislation or anything like that. There's nothing anywhere close to what the FAA is doing over there. No. They're sort of really overly aggressive, aren't they? They really are.
Yeah. Yep. And Mad Kiwi says he's lucky he lives where he lives, and I agree with you in that respect. When it comes to drones, this is absolutely ridiculous. Kawaii Creative Impulse just joined us, Steve.
Hello there. I hope you're well.
And Ed from I Love My Drone says, I tried to put your name in phonetics, Mark, the way Steve says it, Mac,
Mark,
Mahk, Mac.
Mark, my mate Mark.
Yeah, yeah. There's no R in my name. That's
Yeah.
quite all right. I don't mind. I don't mind. But yeah, I've got more to go on, and I don't want to take up I'm sure that more viewers will come in, but this is just the latest, and the AMA is the American Modelers Association. And Steve, if you wouldn't mind, what I'm going to do is, if you folks, if I'm going to put this in the chat, I'm part of CNY Drones. Um, and we do educational things, building competitions and stuff regarding drones in high schools and students, such. I believe it's cnydrones.com. I'm going to double check that, and they have a link to the FAA where you can leave comments and follow the instructions to do so.
Okay.
Let's see, Yep, that's it. And I will actually click on that link and put that link in the chat as well. And anybody who wants to say something, and this is very important, okay? And I can't stress this enough. Try to make it as well thought out and less of a rant, and try to have reasons why this is not good, other than the FAA sucks, because they're not going to listen to that. The AMA at one point created a statement that they wanted everybody to copy and paste and send to them. They've deleted all of those. They don't count them. They will not read spammed emails or messages. So if you're willing to go to this this link and comment on what's going on, just make it thoughtful, direct. Like, for example, when I finally concoct mine, it'll be about education, and they're stifling creativity of students because we're trying to do this. And CNY drones will be done as we speak if this regulation goes forward, because it's going to cost money that we don't have, and to be able to register these drones and have all this identification equipment on it. So just keep it, like I said, just keep professional, thoughtful, and just don't go, you suck. FAA, you suck. That's not going to do us any good.
Keep it constructive.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd appreciate it if anybody went to either one of those links, followed them, and put in their 2 cents, so to speak, because I know I will. Okay, Steve, I'm done for now. Until the next bout.
Okie dokie. Well, it needs saying, doesn't it? Because obviously this is important stuff, innit, going on in the US. And
yes.
We'll cover this every week if we need to, with the updates and everything, because if it's going to kill off the hobby, it needs
will.
covering. That is some of the most important drone news, as well, for the US anyway at the minute. It's imperative that we get that covered, isn't it?
Yeah, and dare I say, if they're successful, not that we lead the world in anything, but if they're successful, I wouldn't doubt that other countries are going to consider the same thing, because it really is all about money. It has nothing to do with safety. That's my personal opinion. So, Quad Farm, what's up?
Yes. Hello there, Quad Farm. I hope you're well. I've just dished out a couple of blue wrenches as well, for people who I trust. You know what I mean? Welcome to the stream. Paul Michael DB, I hope you're well. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure. Mark was just ranting on about the FAA's new proposed stuff that's going on. So that's all good. If you want to watch it back, feel free. I'm sure he's going to rant on a bit more about that yet.
I've just gotten started, buddy. Just taking a breather.
Yes. Happy looks. Hello, welcome to the stream. With what emoji is that? A hugging emoji. Awesome. I don't know emojis very well, so I do have to hover over them to see what they are. So, yeah, thank you for the lovely emoji. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a great Saturday night, as we are, of course. I always do have a good time when I'm streaming. It's over to me now, so I will switch it to me. There we go. I still haven't got the full thingy working yet. My second screen's not playing up, but the way I rigged the screen up to it is. So it's a bit smaller, it should still be readable and all that lot. So let me go ahead and paste this in the chat. Now this website link I've just put in is not just one story. There is a whole list of good drone news stories on this website. But I'm going to start with this one, news from yesterday. This is dronedj.com. DJI Matrice 300 rumoured to be launched in late February. So that is like a picture of the M200 or M210, I believe. So CES, that's the Consumer Entertainment Show, I believe, off the top of my head, in Las Vegas, was a great place to meet up with people in the drone industry, and you always learn something new. One of the things we picked up this time is that the DJI Matrice 300 is rumoured to be launched in late Feb. It seems that DJI realised that after a number of reports came out of crashing DJI Matrice 200 and 210 drones, it was time for an updated and improved version. In the days after CES, we have been able to confirm these rumours through a secondary source. Who knows? DJI Matrice 300 to arrive soon. It's due to arrive as soon as next month. This large, expensive enterprise drone replaces the current DJI Matrice. The Matrice has been very popular amongst search and rescue crews and fire and police departments. However, over the last 2 years, we have heard a number of reports in which these drones have been falling out of the sky. And if you watched the stream last Saturday, we actually covered a story about UK police departments, and there's been 16 incidents of police using Matrice 200s and 210s and then falling out the sky. And I do actually have like a follow-up story about a specific incident as well for later in the stream, which is rather comical in a way, but not, because it's kind of negative, but that's, it's still quite funny. Currently various DJI employees from around the world have been travelling to DJI offices in China to learn more about this new enterprise drone. Be interesting to see how the Matrice 300 will be welcomed by the SAR, fire and police communities, as well as these departments. Have been using smaller and less expensive drones. Portability, ease of use and lower costs have been very valuable to the pilots of these departments. And drones such as the Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual is sort of leading the pack in that regard in terms of price, performance and all that lot. And it's got a low thermal resolution and everything, but still enough to see warm bodies, so that's essentially what they're looking for. I'm not going to read the rest of it, it's only that little bit of the article there, but that's interesting. We looked up the price to actually fully kit out a Matrice M200 or M210 last stream, and it was around £15,000 with a fairly decent camera on it. So it's not a cheap option, and when you've got them dropping out of the sky, I think as a company it's good to come out with there's a new one. But then you've got all the police departments like, oh my god, we've just spent hundreds of thousands of pounds getting these.
Yeah.
Oh dearie me. So awesome. Quad Farm says thanks for the wrench, Steve. Just noticed. That's all good, mate, no worries. That's it's a mere formality, mate. You're more than welcome. Love My Drone says feels great to be back to the 30s on Tuesday, but that's just the projected morning lows. There's weather talk in here. Weather talk does dominate drone chat quite a lot because we do rely on it being calm and fairly warm if possible. Yeah. That's all good. Jeanette Pickering, hello, welcome to the stream.
Jeanette!
Absolutely honoured. Thank you for joining us. I did share this link in your community YouTube place, Facebook group. So if you haven't checked that out, go on Facebook and look for Jeanette's community YouTube place, and you meet a lot of great creators sharing links and things. And it's a place to share your own links. I'm just bigging up your Facebook page there, Jeanette. It's what I do. Mark, are you ready for another story there, mate?
No, but I'm going to keep talking.
Yeah,
but I'm going to keep talking. No, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk, but it's not about anything different.
I see. What? So what you're going to do is you've got one rant.
Yes,
but
part
you're going
two.
to split it into digestible segments.
That I couldn't have put it better myself. Yes.
Throughout the night. Okay.
Yes, dude. I told you I just got started.
Okay. Well, that's my little story done with there. Like I say, I'll repost this link real quick because for people on mobile and stuff, or if you just got like a small window open there, then then the link would have disappeared up in the chat. So there's the link again to this website. There is a whole slew of great drone news stories on here, and I may even cherry pick one or two more out of there. But I have, like you can see at the top of the window, I've got a whole load of stories anyway, good ones. So yes, right, Mark, back over to you. I'll put your screen share on now.
You don't have to right now. I just want to go back to what you were talking about. I mean, it's funny that you mentioned that, the matrice and all this stuff, that there are a lot of news agencies in the United States that have gone away from the bigger drones just for portability. And the fact that most of what they take for news footage only requires 1080p, so they don't need anything ginormous like a matrice. So it's interesting that they're still pushing the matrices and such, but, the Enterprise is a very good drone that apparently the search and rescues are using, but I don't know. Matrice, that is a beastly animal, isn't it, when it comes to price and camera.
You can outfit that thing as well. I mean, that picture does not do it justice. That is sizable, that drone. That is... I'm trying to move back far enough. It's about that... I'm as far back as I can go, and it's about that big. Yeah. Maybe even a touch bigger. I just can't go far enough back, So it is unwieldy, and obviously it's tall. The props have to come off as you transport it.
Oh, the whole thing has to break down, I think, just about.
With a Mavic 2, everything folds. Literally, if you do it right, you can have your controller set up, that thing in the air. If you do it right, or even on the way to a location, if you're setting your controller up, that thing can be in the air in 30 seconds if you do it right. Whereas this thing will take 5 to 10 minutes of setup minimum. By then, your guy's got away. By then, the incident has happened. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
If you're talking about emergency services or getting footage or anything like that, stick with a Mavic 2. If I had like some sort of media agency business, or I was in the emergency services, I'd be like, Mavic 2 Enterprise. Or, if it was just for footage, I'd just be like, Mavic 2. But,
exactly.
Yeah, that's all you need. And for the price, still unbeaten on price, performance, portability, everything in it.
I agree.
Let's be honest, it's just like, all hail the Mavic 2,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, until something else better comes along that I think's better, I'm going to keep singing the praises of the Mavic 2. So, I don't actually have a Mavic 2, but I am told some wonderful things about it from the sources, including yourself, Mark.
There are two camps. There's the Pro and the Zoom. Some people say, why even bother buying the Zoom? I love my Zoom. I've never worked with the Pro. Honestly, when I watch the footage, unless you're watching it in 4K, it looks good, but the Zoom, I like the ability to zoom in on things because for my application. And until they put together a Hasselblad Mavic 2 Pro with zoom capability, I'm happy with what I got.
Yes, indeed. Now, just a quick segue, as we do. Hasselblad was the camera company that made the cameras for the moon landings, wasn't there?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I think so.
With like them overlays and everything, the crosshair overlays. But that's the whole moon landing things for the future final tinfoil hat conspiracy.
I was going to say, where's my foil hat? I forgot where it is.
Yeah. My hive mind is no more.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You've recycled it, have you?
It got binned in the move. That thing was unwieldy. I will eventually make a new hat and get a tinfoil hat stream on the camera.
Well, I've been inspired to make a new one, so when the time comes, I'll have a new hat. So, if the time ever comes.
You were the king of tinfoil hats.
It's because I have no life, Steve.
I'm happy I can bring a ray of sunshine in.
That's the problem. It's almost an obsession. Oh, shit. Tinfoil hat. I'm sorry. Oh, crap. Tinfoil hat. I got to make a new foil hat for the weekend. Oh, man. Sorry about cussing. Sorry.
Hey, don't bother me, mate. Yeah, that's all right. Now, when I'm not streaming, my language is foul. I do not understand how when I'm streaming I can avoid swear words.
Well,
when I'm at work, I swear. When I'm on the Skype call to you playing games, Mark, you've heard the way I talk. And then it comes to live streaming, it's like, Oh, hello there, everybody, and how are you today?
Oh, Popper. Well, it's quite the opposite for me because I can't swear during the week at work, and so I get it out while I'm online. I let it slip here, so I have to be more careful. So.
Okay. Would you like me to switch the
Sure.
screen share thingy over to you?
Yes, sure.
Back to your FAA rant then.
Yes. So rant part 2. Now, Steve, to be fair, I'm cashing in on the G card because of your many weeks of ranting on that.
Do I have permission to say it?
Once.
Once. No, I'll say it when I need to then.
Okay. Bank it. Okay. So here, let me copy this link, and it's a continuation, but it's not just this. It's got obviously the same flavor, but let me put it in the chat here. And this goes into it a little bit more about. There's the link that I put as well if you would like to leave a comment, and there is a time constraint on that, and I'll talk about it. It says back in December, the FAA published a detailed proposal to gain complete control over model aircraft within the next 3 years through the remote identification of unmanned aerial systems. According to the AOPA, the initial feedback of the drone identification and tracking notice of proposed rulemaking was decidedly negative. Go figure. Many, if not most, of the first 1,000 comments voiced concern about remote pilot privacy, new limitations on where and how drones can be flown, and financial costs both known and unknown. The FAA set a March 2 deadline for public comment. So, folks, if you want to comment, you only have a month or so left to be able to place those comments. And again, when they've done the mass emailings and the mass spamming of the same comment, they just deleted them all. They didn't even read them. So they're being strategic about what they read. Yeah. Personally, I don't think they're reading a damn thing, but might as well. Anyway. Yeah. FAA said so March 2nd is the deadline, and this particular article, if you go to the link, also has the links to where you can leave comments and such, and there are directions to do so. We planned. Let's see here. Let me see where I left off. Okay, here's the short version again for those of you who are new to this. The FAA seeks to require all drones larger than 0.55 pounds to be individually registered and to be broadcast identifying information in order to fly in most locations. The FAA has made clear that remote identification is a prerequisite for a long list of advanced operations being allowed without waivers, including routine drone flights at night over people and beyond remote pilots' line of sight. A system to track and remotely identify drones is the key to creating a new unmanned aircraft traffic management system, and that details exactly how this new system is implemented remains to be decided. The FAA is leaving much of it to private industry, creating performance standards without dictating how much they are achieved. Now, here's one thing that I do need to mention. I forget which article it was in. They're talking about this system that will be internet-based, and that's going to require more cost on the pilot. I mean, think about it. You have to use data to transfer the information from your drone to the internet. Who's paying for that? You. Not to mention, it's actually going to require a monthly subscription fee to be able to fly your drone so that you have access to this system to broadcast and be identified. So now they're actually putting a cost on air. In other words, in order to fly a drone, you will have to pay a subscription fee, legally that is, pay a subscription fee to be able to fly your drone in the air, which is absolutely ludicrous. Nothing is going to change soon. The proposed rulemaking calls for various requirements to be phased in over 3 years, and the details, including the timing, can still be changed prior to publish of the final rule. So there is still some time here, folks. The question is whether or not there's going to be any flexibility and whether or not people are going to stand up for this. With very few exceptions, the FAA proposes that virtually every unmanned aircraft in airspace at any altitude must be quickly identifiable by other users and law enforcement, which will have access to the pilot's location information as well as the aircraft's location. Those unable or unwilling to participate, no matter what credentials the operator may hold, will be regulated to fly only in federally approved designated areas called FAA recognized identification areas. And that's what I mentioned before. You have to apply for that within a year, and once that closes, it's closed. You cannot supposedly you cannot apply to be a place to fly.
This sounds absolutely bloody terrible.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
Crikey.
Oh,
It's the worst drone news I've ever read.
I know, it's depressing. And here, even further, bad actors drove the rule. The FAA announced that RID was coming in March 2017 and assembled a committee of stakeholders, including the AOPA, to provide recommendations on how best to minimize the downsides of drones and maximize the opportunities delivery of food, medicine, infrastructure, inspection at a fraction of the cost of other methods, disaster response, blah, 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 blah. The Aviation Rulemaking Committee report was published in December through some of the 74 members submitting dissenting views on some key points. Now, this is another thing. All these agencies that are using drones to deliver drugs, for defibrillators, for emergency response for people having heart attacks, for organ transplants, food, you name it, are all going to be subjected to the same situation. And they fear that if the internet goes down or communications are not maintained with this identification system, that will ground all those operations, making them useless. So now we're also talking about this whole Big Brother thing of being able to dial into the internet and having access to the airways. If communications are shut down, apparently you will not be able to fly. You will be locked out of flying. So you're talking about emergency response being affected by this as well, because of the tight control that the FAA is trying to do.
Everyone knows even the most solid internet connection can get patchy.
Yeah, you think?
It happens.
Yeah, and drone landscapes. I always said that those people big into FPV will be your rogues, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to keep flying, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to fly.
Probably best not to announce that live on stream.
I don't care. I'm going to keep flying. Did I say I was going to fly illegally? I'm going to keep flying. I'm going to find one way to perform to keep flying and to make it happen, because this is just absolutely crazy. There are more. There are more rules and regulations. Now, this is not a political comment. It's just an observation and personal belief. There seem to be more rules and controls and regulations over flying drones at this point than there are about guns in the United States. End of story. It just seems like they're spending so much time on this when they should be worried about the 737, like I said last week.
737 MAX. Yeah. Come on, 2 of them have gone down, killing hundreds of people, and not much is really being done about it that I know of, because I've looked into it, and there's investigations, and they found that it's this bit, and airline companies can cheap out and not get this specific system installed. And
you mean pay off the FAA to let them get through the regulations, and because that's what they're claiming at this point, that somehow the FAA dropped the ball in letting that sucker through.
Well, there's 2 points, right? For one, do you think that big business like Amazon and Uber Eats or whatever, do you think they have any sway over this?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think they're really pushing to try and get the airspace as well?
Yeah, but it may backfire on them with the communications. Like I said, they may be grounded too if this goes through the way they want to. But I think they started it. I think that was a big push. I think they have lobbies pushing for this to control the airs and to push the little guy out. Absolutely. But you also said there was another side to this. I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I'll just say hello to Organised Confusion really quick. Hello there, mate. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a great Saturday night. What was I going to say? Do you think that if drones like, DJI obviously has the market share, they are the market leaders in the sort of commercial drone thingy. Do you think if it was a big American company making consumer drones, raking in as much money as some of these Chinese companies, do you think the rules would be getting so tight to just completely...
No, absolutely not. That company would be paying the government hand over fist to not let this happen.
Yeah.
Now, if DJI were funding the FAA right now, damn well they'd keep their mouth shut over it.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sorry.
if that happened though, that'd be well shady, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Big Chinese company lobbying for American authorities to do things. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that they would, but I'm just that's just a for instance. Yes, I do believe that a lot has to do with whose pockets are getting lined. It's all about money. This has nothing to do with safety. I'm sorry. They're using it as an argument, and it's wrong. Love My Drone says, I'm firmly convinced that these proposed regulations will be amended, at least for us close range guys. There's a senator proposing that property owners have a right to 200 feet above property. Yeah, but if you only have half an acre, you can go 200 feet above you, but where are you going to go after that? And I appreciate that, and hopefully that is the case, that we'll have more. I'm with you, Ed. I really hope that it's going to be amended. I hope that they're shooting for the stars, and they're going to accept a smaller pot of gold, so to speak. If they push as much regulation as they can, and then they only come out with 15% of it, that might have been their goal in the first place. I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
I mean, a reasonable solution. LOEBRFPV, I hope you're well. I've got the chat right in front of me. I am on it tonight.
Yeah, yes, you are.
Yeah. If they introduced some kind of rule for the FPV guys, especially sub 250 grams, sort of keep the rules as they are. Anything above, put all this stuff on. You're not going to get these FPV drones with these transponders and everything on them. The weight just all of a sudden triples, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And and props to Gary. He says he just completed his submission to the FAA. He even has a tracking number. Thank you very much, Gary, for putting in your 2 cents. I'm sure you did a great job. I would love to hear what you had to say about it at some point. So thank you so much. And I'm still thinking about how I'm going to do it from an educator's perspective, but I want to make it right, even though they're probably not going to read it, but I'm going to give it a hell of a shot anyway. Okay, Steve, I'm done with rant number 2.
Okay, but chapter 2 closed.
Chapter 3 coming up.
There's still chapter 3, the reckoning, to go. Yeah, right.
Oh, it involves DJI to go figure. So.
Oh, dearie me. Okay, so last Saturday we covered the Colorado mystery UFO drones, whatever they are, and I've got an article here. So let me pop this on and into the chat for you real quick. Let me post this in here. Paste. There we go. This is from Vice News, vice.com. The link's right there. Mass panic. It's not clear that Colorado's mystery drones even exist. Now, for many weeks, people throughout the northern states of the US have been reporting seeing these 6-foot wide drones flying around, and sometimes in formations and stuff. No one knows what they are, and instantly law enforcement claimed, it's drones. News agencies, it's drones. But then you read into the article and they're like, well, we don't really know what they are, but at the minute we're calling them drones. That's essentially the gist of it. Now, on this image right here, this shape, that looks like a flying wing, Mark. Right?
I'm trying to...
We sort of came to the conclusion last week that it's most likely people with flying wings.
Yeah.
Right? Because they've got 6-foot wide wingspans. Mm-hmm. And that to me looks a lot like a flying wing. You've got the lights on each wing. It's got that typical sort of chevron type shape to it.
Yep.
And that in the middle could be a person of some description, or even if it's, I don't know, because if it's...
So you're talking about like what we would call an ultralight here in the States?
No, I'm talking about, like one of them jet-powered wingsuits.
Oh, wingsuits, that's right. Yeah,
like a flying wing,
Yes, yes, now I got you. Yes, I remember exactly. Yes, it does. Gotcha. Yeah, it could be.
I'll read a bit of this article. This is from like 5 days ago, but I've been keeping a close eye on this. Mass panic. It's not clear that Colorado's mystery drones even exists. Drone hobbyists say the media and the FAA regularly use drone panic to enact strict regulations. And hell yeah, that's what we came to the conclusion about last week. And pretty much every drone news show that has some sort of unidentified flying object labelled as a drone. You know, a balloon, a carrier bag, a bird, right?
Can you refresh my
UFO? Aliens could land and they'd claim it was a drone, right? they could announce the presence to the world, and it would go.
Was there any indication how fast? Was there any indication how fast they were going against Steve? If they could tell.
Let me just read a bit of the article because it does cover a bit of that, mate. So it all started on December 23rd when the Denver Post reported on a band of large drones, 6 foot wide wingspans apparently, flying over Phillips and Yuma counties in northeast Colorado. I think there has been other sightings elsewhere as well, but you know, Phillips County Sheriff Thomas Elliott, as relayed by the Denver Post, provided an eerie description of the drone activity. They're still calling it drone activity though. In quotes, the drones stay about 200 feet to 300 feet in the air and fly steadily in squares of about 25 miles. So, I mean, are we going to rule out like consumer drones at this point? There are at least 17 drones. They emerge each night at 7 p.m. And disappear around 10 p.m. So these things are in the air for like 3 hours, flying in 25-mile squares.
Yeah.
There's no consumer drone that's going to be doing that.
Oh, well, my Mavic is pretty good, but it's not that good.
Yeah,
about 25 miles,
about 4.5
hours.
miles each way. But I mean, you're talking battery life as well.
Oh my God! That's
so
ridiculous.
nobody interviewed by news reporters, including local authorities, the FAA, the DEA, the US Army, the Department of Defense, or the Air Force, said they knew what was going on. But they still keep saying mystery drones over Colorado. But, you know, when the Air Force is saying we don't know what these things are, surely they can scramble something to go have a look. Taken at face value, this sounds like a peculiar installment in the annals of drone sightings, but drone enthusiasts are not taking it at face value, neither am I. Loretta Alcalay, a former FAA lawyer who now works as an aviation attorney and is a drone enthusiast herself, told Motherboard, these media reports seem to harken back to the old days where there was so much media sensationalism and scaremongering with any drone sightings. Well, seems to harken back to the old days. No, this still goes on, the sensationalisation and whatnot. Indeed, in the weeks since, we've learned nothing else after more sightings reports and failed attempts to record or photograph the drones. The Colorado Department of Public Safety flew an aeroplane over the area in question, capable of detecting heat signatures below. After an almost 5-hour flight, they found nothing. The Colorado Springs Gazette thought they'd solved it when they found the Air Force has a base in KN that conducts drone operations, but a few days later the Air Force said it's not them either. You never know with the Air Force. Never know. You know, tinfoil hats at the ready. To say this has caused quite the kerfuffle would be an understatement after more than 70 local, state, federal and military officials met in Brush, Colorado. A joint task force consisting of 10 to 15 separate agencies was put together to solve the mystery. What are you going to say there, Mike?
Did they actually use the word kerfuffle?
They used the word kerfuffle. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, kerfuffle, really? Sorry, go.
Yeah, I'll leave Brant Ariel's comments for when you go on Chapter 3, The Reckoning, with your bit, mate, because that relates to what you're saying there. Now, there is a video there. I'm not going to play it. All I can do is relink the article. That does look like a YouTube link. I can't play it, unfortunately, because I don't want a copyright strike for playing other people's YouTube videos, even if they are embedded on other websites. So the enduring conundrum has attracted its fair share of national media attention. Well, I'm talking about it here from the UK, so it's worldwide in this small part of YouTube. While that media attention hasn't gotten to the bottom of the case, it spared additional reports of drone sightings further into Nebraska and as far away as North Carolina and California. A seemingly minor detail lacking from these reports is that there's precious little evidence these drones actually exist. That's not to say that this is some hoax or all the eyewitness accounts are wrong. Far be it for me to question their experiences from our offices in Brooklyn, but this lack of evidence has not been lost on drone hobbyists and advocates. They have seen this play before. Yes, I have, with the G word. Alcalay pointed out that there is a long history of the media accepting drone sighting claims without much rigour, only for investigators to later determine that whatever was seen was not a drone at all. So there we go, look, and then a whole list of other things there. It's quite a long article, look, but you know, a pilot reported striking a drone about 20 miles. FAA investigated, it was a bird. 8 months later, a widely publicised story, British Airways pilot said it hit a drone near Heathrow Airport, but the UK Transport Secretary later reported it was not a drone and probably a plastic bag. Yeah, you know, yeah, so this thing does go on and on and on and on and on. So you can read it for yourself. But we covered this last week. I wanted to go into it a bit again because this is still going on, these mystery drones. And if that's a picture of one of these supposed drones, that looks like one of them jet wingsuits that you strap on your back and you can actually fly. And it was only a few years ago the world record was beaten crossing the English Channel. I think it was about 6 minutes using one of these things.
Now, do people have to register these jet suits and be licensed to use them? Just curious.
I don't know. I mean, in the UK, you don't have to register or do any sort of safety training with a micro light, so who knows? we always laugh about that, don't we? You know, so you can buy a full-size micro light, like this little plane. You can get in and fly as long as you stay below a certain altitude and that. But if you want a model of that, a remote controlled model, you have to sit the online safety test, register it, and abide by more rules than if you was flying the manned version of it. Right, so it doesn't make any sense.
And it's probably like 1/10 the scale, right? That.
No, less. No, 1/32 scale, say, you know, something like that. But it's ridiculous.
Oh man, it's crazy.
So I wanted to cover that because it's still ongoing. There is other news articles, but this one was very thorough. So I wanted to share this one with you and read about that. So. Right, Mark, are we on to part 3, The Reckoning, and then you can cover Grant Ariel's comments. I wanted to leave them for you, mate.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, Grant was kind enough to leave comments. And I'll kind of reiterate. He said he wasn't opposed to remote ID as long as it's as private as my car registration. I don't want my position on the ground public while I'm in the air, as my safety will be compromised. He has a very valid point there. If you're flying a drone, a very expensive drone, and people know where your drone is and where you are, well, especially if you're FPV and you got goggles on, you have no idea who's around you if your drone's not keeping an eye on it. So you put yourself at risk with very expensive equipment. I mean, if you have a spotter, which you probably should anyway, still, it just puts you at risk for people to be able to identify you. He goes on to say that I also asked that regulations be formed with a view to airspace safety. Yeah, because they seem to be forgetting it is about safety, not about money. And also, he's already been getting emails in Canada from the FAA. He has not gotten a phone call yet. So they're on him. They're on him. So with that said, I'll go on to my next thing, which I promised was DJI related, pertaining to this. And Pace, this will be my last rant, at least for this week, regarding the regulation. The Reckoning. DJI's critical response to FAA's remote ID proposal. So basically, why does DJI think the FAA's remote ID NPRM is deeply flawed? Well, the first point is that the FAA's proposal will require the vast majority of drones to be connected through the internet to one of the FAA's chosen remote ID UAS service suppliers. As I mentioned before, it is anticipated that the pilots will be charged mandatory subscription fees to access this service and in turn charge access to the skies. You now have to pay to fly, which is ridiculous. According to the NPRM, remote ID UAS service suppliers will also store flight records for at least 6 months. So not only will they know where you are and what you're doing, but they're going to data warehouse all your activity. Could you say Big Brother?
Oh, sounds shady to me.
Yes, it sounds awful.
Grant Ariels does have the great point.
Yes.
If your location and your equipment and where you're flying and everything's being broadcast while you're in the air, that is terrible, mate. That is terrible. If only law enforcement can access it, fair enough. But if it goes into like a thing, like an online thing where you can look, you know, say just in case someone has a nuisance flyer near the house that can look up who's flying. You're going to get a whole new criminal sort of enterprise.
Yes,
people
you are.
literally just going round looking, literally with an online real-time map for who's flying, robbing people. That's what's going to happen.
Or vigilante in a way, oh my God, somebody's flying near my house, I'm going to go take him out, they shouldn't be flying near my house, it's just, it could be all kinds of, and I might be a bit on the paranoid side, but I'm just speculating what the worst case scenarios are. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you never know. This proposed requirement creates undue financial and compliance burdens and would impede America's existing drone industry, according to Schumann, who works for DJI, by the way. And then there are the technical barriers to compliance. Schumann points out that thousands of drones and radio-controlled aircraft currently on the market have no means for internet connection and would be grounded. So you're literally just cutting off an arm or two of the industry and essentially making all of this equipment defunct. I mean, think about it. You can't buy you bought your kid a drone for Christmas. Might as well just throw it in the garbage now. Sorry, Johnny, I got to take your drone away. It's illegal. We have to throw it out.
Sell it to somewhere overseas on eBay. Yeah.
As a result,
somewhere that can use it.
Yeah. As a result, the new technical specifications required to adhere to remote ID, many manufacturers would face increased equipment costs, while do-it-yourself drone kits used to develop technical skills or allow for customization would essentially be outlawed. FPVers. Drone operators with limited cell phone service coverage may need to sign up for more expensive data plans. Service fees estimated by FAA to cost upwards of $5 per month alone would add an approximate 20% extra cost per year for the average drone user, even though the benefits of remote ID are all for police and other authorities, not for drone users. So you're paying for something that you can't even use. When you think about it, So, I mean, wouldn't it be nice that if this were in effect, that if I had access to it, which I don't want anyway, because like you said, people are going to know where and when you're flying. But let's say I'm in an area and I want to check to make sure there's nobody else flying in the area. It'd be nice to be able to look and say, oh yeah, there are a couple guys here. Maybe I'll just move over. If I wanted to be polite about it. We don't even have access to it. Well, not yet at least. So who knows? Okay. So yeah, DJI's dipping their toe into it, but will they listen to DJI, being that the government doesn't care much about them because we're not allowed to use them here in the U.S. for any actual government agencies? We're banned from using foreign drones. But I don't know. It's ongoing, but this is showing the potential financial burden to flying drones as a hobby now. Aside from building and buying and building and flying, now you have to have a monthly subscription fee to flying in the air. Wonderful, isn't it?
Yes, monthly subscriptions, lovely. Now you see they keep slapping the drone sort of community with all this extra costs and everything, because at the end of the day, a lot of these drones are quite expensive, and I think they sort of justify it with like, well, if they can afford to spend £1,000 or $1,000 on a drone, they can afford X amount a month for the subscription. It's like, but no, it's unnecessary. All of it's unnecessary. It's been proven. There's still 0 fatalities worldwide from commercial or hobbyist drone use. Minor injuries, maybe the odd major injury, but it's all scaremongering, all of it.
Yeah.
And the main concern I know is big companies lobbying and privacy concerns. It's nothing to do with safety.
No.
Nothing at all. Nothing. It's crazy, man. I know, speechless. Absolutely and I'm speechless because I've got nothing to add to this that could even put a silver lining on any of this.
There's no silver lining.
The only thing I could possibly say at this point is, if enough people get on that thing and submit their reports and whatever in a constructive way, that maybe there may be some sort of ray of light for the FPV community, at least, hopefully.
Yeah.
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 But
I mean, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. We want the skies to be safe, although that's not their main thrust. I'm willing to abide by reasonable regulations for crying out loud, but this is like over the top and then some. This is
Yeah,
this
it
is like
is
our
the true
worst
meaning of
nightmares
overkill.
come true.
Yeah, it is proper overkill, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the new registration thing in the UK was like a terrible sort of overreach, but
Now you're like,
that's nothing, is it? I'll do the online safety test and pay £9 a year.
yeah.
Oh,
In fact,
it's
you're probably
worse
going to
than
go through
before,
that.
but it's not as bad as what the FAA are doing. Now, the dreadful thing is, if that goes ahead, that may be used as some kind of case study by other countries.
That's what I'm afraid.
The UK's one for following suit on US regulations and stuff, and could possibly start looking into this themselves, depending on how it goes in the States.
Yes.
Who knows?
Oh, and unlike our friends, and you could have used the G word. You had an opportunity to do that. But do you remember our friends who were trying to protest the building or the expansion, and they were going to fly drones in order to block? I just want to make a public service announcement for all those people who are against what the FAA is doing. For goodness sakes, please don't use the drones to protest and make their arguments stick.
Yeah. You're preaching to the wrong crowd, mate.
Yeah. Just don't.
AZ Drone Dude, hello, buddy. Welcome to the stream.
Don't do what they tried to do and fly drones to block flights and stuff like that. No.
Yes,
Do it the
but
right way.
The thing is, though, at Heathrow, the police were ready. They knew they were showing up. They brought the drone jammers in. Nobody got off the ground.
There you go. Well, don't even try. Just do it the right way.
Yeah, but not before the drone hobbyist sort of thing name got dragged right through the mud.
Oh, through the mud, yes.
No one came out of that smelling of roses, did they? Let's be honest.
That's crazy.
Oh, dearie me.
Well,
that was a newspaper seller for a good couple of weeks. That was.
Well, thank you so much for everybody in the chat for listening to my 3-part drama rant about the FAA. I am done. So, Steve, I leave it to you.
Right. Well, I'm going to end on this story. I will quickly add the links in for these other stories. This one was from 7th of January. I didn't know whether to cover it or not, but GPS glitch grounds GoPro Karma drones. And I'm not going to go into that because we are running short on time. I will paste the link in there for anybody who wants to check it out. And also one from newsshooter.com, Autel Evo 2, the world's first 8K foldable consumer drone. I will just weigh in really quick. We're not ready for 8K drones. No one's got an 8K TV or anything capable of editing in any kind of reasonable time frame or anything like that. Or 99% of people haven't, should I say. This is not going to be very good for hobbyists. Don't think you're going to be getting 8K footage and it's going to look splendid in 1080p. Just get a 1080p drone. You can only downscale so much. You lose the quality anyway. Even if you're downscaling to 4K. That's my 2 pence worth. I've read the thing. Stick with him, have it. Right? Okay, but I've linked the article anyway for fairness sake. Now, obviously, we covered the Matrice 300 rumours for next month, and this is a sort of continuation of the story we covered last Saturday, and that was the 16 different police incidents in the UK where a little bit of rain has gone on their Matrice and they've just come plummeting out of the sky. I'm willing to bet it's happened other places around the world as well. But this story is from 9th of Jan. I didn't find this one last week, but this one has come to light. And that is from Leicestershire Live, leicestershire.mercury.co.uk, Leicestershire Live. And that is police drone. Pilot shouts, "Look out, move," as aircraft crashes onto city street. Owners of similar drones are being warned they can fail in the rain. So if you've got a Matrice, don't think it's 100% waterproof. They're just like water resistant, that's all. And I think police departments have gone a bit over the top, thinking, whatever, Hey, Val's in. Hello, Val.
Val's in. Hey, Val. How you doing? Oh,
hello. Dude. Always a pleasure, Val. I hope you're having
nice
a great
to see you, Val.
Saturday night.
Steve, I'm looking
Saturday Evening. Yes. Sorry, Matt.
Yes.
Go on.
I'm looking at that article on another window here, and that's the carcass of a matrice. That's sad. Sad. My
It
heart
probably didn't
bleeds.
land like that. That
No,
looks
no.
that
Probably
looks
swept
almost as if
together.
it's like up against the back of the police bumper. So I
Like
think
they
it's
swept,
crashed,
they
and
were
then they've gone and
sweeping it.
recovered that. Yeah.
They got the sweeper out and brought it together in one
It
big
didn't
pile.
fall into that neat pile, did it?
Yeah. But that looks so sad.
Oh
So
yeah.
sad. I want to weep.
Yeah, and think that's about £15,000 worth of kit as well.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And some
ouch.
tells me it's not all there either. It's missing bits and pieces too.
Yes.
Like I don't see the batteries.
So if you need a spare propeller or a spare motor for your Matrice, get yourself down to where's this? Maidstone Road, Highfields in Leicester. You may find one in the gutter. Just in case. Yeah, fair enough. So, a police drone pilot shouted, "Look out, move," as the aircraft he was controlling plummeted out the sky. The drone was being flown in the rain about 300 foot above Maidstone Road in Highfields, Leicester, as part of a police training operation. And if rain's got in, I'm willing to bet it's just completely cut out. Right,
Oh, yeah.
so that is what a Matrice looks like after a 300-foot drop straight down by the looks of things. And I'm laughing. It's taxpayer money that's doing this, right?
Good point.
So it's good to know that my taxpayer money is going to the police having fun. So the 26-year-old pilot who had 57 hours of experience flying drones. Is that all? So the four-propeller DJI Matrice 210 quadcopter spinning out of control, falling from the sky. The aircraft smashed into the road without hitting anyone or anything and was destroyed. The Air Accidents Investigation Branch, which is responsible for looking at crashes involving manned and unmanned flying vehicles, carried out an investigation into the incident. According to the AAIB's report released today, the incident happened at about 11:25 a.m. on March the 3rd. Although the weather was wet, the pilot judged the drone should be able to handle the rain based on the aircraft's rating. And for anybody who knows, in the UK, rain can come out of nowhere, even if it's just like light drizzle. It can literally just turn to absolute downpour out of nowhere. I'm willing to bet he got caught off guard with just a downpour out of nowhere. And yeah, that's a more close-up picture of the wreckage.
Oh, Lord. Drone landscapes goes police training, haha, let's fly in the rain. But like you said, to be fair, they may have been caught off guard because it does happen out of nowhere.
Like, I might do a quick check on eBay just to see how many, like, Matrice parts are on there. Bits that managed to salvage and deem still working.
Well, the
Loads of
motors might be
Matrice
good.
legs for sale.
Those motors might be salvageable.
Oh, boy. Everyone's got Matrice legs. Yeah. The report states the DJI Matrice, still a small unmanned aerial vehicle, was being operated by the police as part of a training exercise. The pilot had checked the weather as part of his prep, and although the rain was forecast, it was considered the conditions were suitable. In quotes, after liftoff and control checks were completed satisfactorily, the aircraft was ascended to 300 foot to maintain safe separation from nearby buildings. It was still raining, but as the flight progressed, the rain eased to drizzle. The pilot was moving the drone to a new position when it started spinning out of control, prompting the pilot to shout out the warning. So I don't think it did go straight down. I think it sort of just went. So you can imagine if like they haven't cordoned the area off or anything like that, and there's people walking about just about the daily business, and you just hear a policeman, "Watch out!" You're like, oh boy.
Okay, well, actually, now we finally have our very first documented drone potential accident, but it was averted. That's it.
Yeah.
A confirmed drone accident. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Everything was handled well. I'll give him that. I'll give him this one.
Yes. Rattletrap, I hope you're well, buddy. Thank you for
Rattletrap,
joining
nice to
us
see you,
tonight.
man.
I hope you're well, buddy. I hope you're having a great Saturday night.
Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, we're just talking about this incident with the UK police they seem to be getting a bit cowboyish with the Matrice drones. They cost about £15,000, about $20,000, about that $18,000. And they're flying them in the rain, and they're going out of control. There's been 16 confirmed drones downed in the UK alone by a bit of drizzle, apparently. A bit of light drizzle, which in the UK we're very much used to. And obviously the police don't realise that, it can probably handle that, if you just wanted to get it back quick, you know what I mean?
I'm telling you, they need to learn about conformal coding.
Yeah, you know what they're going to put on them next? Big umbrellas.
Drone umbrellas, I can see it now.
Yeah. So the report states after approximately 5 minutes, and while the aircraft was being repositioned, it suddenly started to spin rapidly and fell to the ground. The pilot attempted to warn people by shouting, "Look out, move." Yeah. Hello, Shanna. I hope you're well. We're just laughing about this drone news story. Hey, friend, just popping in to say hello and hope you all have a beautiful, blessed weekend. You too, Shanna. Thank you for dropping in. And I hope you have a great weekend too, and a great Saturday night. You know what I mean? We're all having a good laugh around here. So it took an estimated 5 seconds for the aircraft to fall to the ground, where it was destroyed on impact. I wouldn't have guessed. Examination of the recorded data shows that a motor blocked warning message had been activated and the rear left motor had failed. About 2 weeks later, after the Leicester crash, an identical model being flown during an athletics event at Temple Newsome in Leeds also fell out of the sky during rain. The report on the Leicester incident refers to the safety advice issued to DJI Matrice 200 series aircraft owners as a result of the Leeds incident. The advice included that the CAA, not CIA, notify users of the DJI Matrice 200 series of the possibility of moisture entering the aircraft when operating in rain, and this could result in a sudden loss of control of the aircraft. This is unrelated stories, but I thought there was a bit more to scroll through. Yeah, if you've got a Matrice, if you are pretty well off and you can afford to spend sort of decent car money on getting a drone, £15,000 to $20,000, whatever, on one of these, light drizzle, don't fly it. Don't any moisture in the air, don't fly it. High humidity, do not take off, right?
Well, I'm actually kind of shocked because DJI being the monster that they are, my first drone, I still fly from time to time. I love it, which is a hexacopter. It's the Typhoon H, made by Unique. It is designed so that if a motor should fail, it will actually return to home on the 5 props left over. Now, that's the problem with a quadcopter, especially one that's that expensive, which is why I think maybe you should have gone with the 6 prop job there, cops. Because, if one fails, there is a slight chance that you can at least land it safely. Maybe not fly it for very long, but get it down to the ground so it doesn't completely smash into bits like that one did.
I just realised there, for the time I've had this, I've been reading this story, I didn't actually change the screen share. I do apologise for that, but this is the picture of the Matrice after it had come down. And that's why I was laughing that everyone seems to have come into Matrice legs, right? Everyone's got plenty of spare Matrice legs at the minute, and the odd maybe working motor, right? on the maybe pile. Brant Ariel says, does anybody know what dumpster the Matrices were put into? No, you just check the road, where it came down. Maidstone Road, Highfields in Leicester.
Oh,
you never know what you're going to find. There's a treasure trove in the gutters of shards of Matrice, possible trinkets and mementos for anybody who wants to get down there.
I'm thinking about having 2 Matrice motors mounted on a necklace so I can wear them around my neck. What do you think? They dangle them as earrings? I don't know.
Wearing a T-shirt, you know what I mean? Yeah, blooming heck. The T-shirt says Maidstone Road, Highfields, Leicester, with a date on it, and then I was there.
Big old headstone DJI art. Big old headstone on the T-shirt with DJI initials and underneath RIP.
Yeah. Oh, blooming heck. So, yeah, if you're walking down the street going about your business, if you hear some police shout, watch out. Yeah, watch out for drones. So sort of what could have been a positive news story. We cover loads of good, like emergency services uses of drones and things like that. And to see one come down, 16 different cases to date of these matrices under law enforcement control. And if it was a hobbyist, I don't think they would have done this 16 times, right? No, even with the DJI refresh, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But because it's the police force, it'll all be insured up to the gills. They won't care. There's another 100 where that came from.
Yeah.
So it's whatever. Taxpayers will foot the bill. Whatever.
We always do.
Chalk it up as a learning experience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like drizzle. Whatever. Yeah. That looks nasty. And when I crashed my Mavic and wrecked it, I was distraught. I still
don't know how you handled that, man.
And that cost me like £800 to replace. So you can imagine how hurt you would be if you owned one of these as a hobbyist.
Ugh.
Yeah, it does fall below the 20 kilo mark in the UK, so you can use it as a hobbyist as well. Yeah, that's crazy. So the show for next week, because we're about to round off in a couple of minutes, I just want to do the final spiel. The show is on your channel, Mark, on Wednesday.
Yes.
So real quick, if you just want to type hello or something in the chat for anybody, Mark's channel is linked in the stream description as well, but easiest to grab him in the chat if he puts something in there. The show will be on his channel Wednesday night for more drone news. There's always more drone news from around the world. That will be Wednesday night, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. UK time. Yes, indeed, for the weekly drone news show. This is just the impromptu Saturday chill out, let's have a laugh show. But it has been a bit ranty with Mark on the go. That's all good, mate. You got part 3, the reckoning in, which is the main bit. Yeah. So we will be streaming again Wednesday night. So please subscribe to Mark's channel, put that notification bell on. And if you haven't to me, please do. I don't usually say it, the like button, subscribe, but feel free to. It's much appreciated. Thank you everybody for tonight, for joining us.
Thank you.
We always have a good laugh. I always look forward to doing the drone news live streams on a Saturday, on a Wednesday. We're not always on Saturday, but the Saturday ones are more fun. I'm more well rested, a bit more easy going. It's Saturday night, innit? And sometimes I'm a little drinky as well. You never know. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't checked out the Facebook AV UK page, please just search. I'll put this in the chat for you real quick. If you're on Facebook, please go and like the page. I put all sorts of links in there, behind the scenes looks and stuff I'm working on, links to streams, links to other people's videos as well, that I really like, and behind the scenes tomfoolery that goes on. So just search AV UK on Facebook. Now, it is customary, Mark, to find a stream to raid. So, if you want to have a look...
I'm looking right now, but I'd like to try somebody different, spread the wealth a little bit. I don't see anybody different on tonight.
Yes, let me have a quick look also. And if we cannot decide on a stream to raid, then we will take suggestions. I'm in no rush to get off, but I would like to round the stream off in a reasonable time frame, you know what I mean? So if anybody would like to suggest a stream for us to raid, please do. That may take some time, but that's all good. Yeah.
I don't have that many streaming right now, to be honest with you, on my list. So
yes. Okay, RC Crazy is streaming.
He's on again, yeah. He's still on. Yeah, we can do that again if you want.
Yes, indeed. Good suggestion.
I'll put it.
There.
I'll get his link. I'll get the link to the stream.
From Brant Aerials. Yeah, I've got the link.
Thank you, Brant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just mute that real quick. Are you putting the link in there, Mark?
Yes, I'll put the link in.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yep.
Oops.
So There we go. I think he's on it.
Copy, and here we go. Got it.
Yeah.
Paste.
Yeah.
Boom. And his wife Tiff is on tonight too.
Oh,
Oops, I just posted it in his. Oops, that's gonna make no sense at all. Okay. There you go.
That's all right. So
Okay.
I'm working on it. Okay, so leave it with me. RC Cray Z. I believe it's like that. Stream raid. AV UK, whatever. TADA. All good. With a hashtag or whatever. If you want to do that, that's much appreciated. It's just a bit of fun in it. So let me put that link in there also as well. Just get that done. And we'll meet you all over there in a minute as well. So if you go over there. Yeah, so thank you everyone for watching. It's much appreciated.
Thank you so much, everybody.
I know I keep saying it, but I mean it from the heart. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you all Wednesday. And stay safe. Stay out of trouble with your drones and that, you know what I mean? And in trouble in general. I know it's difficult. Yeah. And I'll catch you all again very soon. Thank you all for joining us. It's much appreciated. Much love, and I'll catch you all again soon. Matt, would you like to say goodbye?
See you Wednesday. Yes. Good night, everybody, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.
Yes. Farewell, everybody. All the best.